Hi, everybody. Man, how is it going? It does take a hot second here for YouTube to catch up to where I am at. That's kind of a weird thing for me to kind of conceptualize. And yeah, awesome sauce. Perfect, perfect, perfect. How is everyone doing? Did we all have a fantabulous week? Because I know I did. Let me bring the microphone over so you can hear me a little bit better. Let me get my screen's adjusted, and it was a fabulous week. Let me get right into it. Awesome meeting with Stone Hobbit yesterday, and I'm telling you, good things on the horizon. A couple of the things that we did not talk about, we did talk about like the New Age philosophy, theology, however you want to put a tag on it. And some of the things that we did not talk about, which was kind of on my heart, and I got to see what I have on here that I dictated earlier this week, but something that's been coming up on a semi-regular basis. Let me get a real pair of glasses on so I can see what's going on. But is the aspect of there are a lot of grifters. The grifters are going to start, you know, like the slag. When you heat up the metal, the slag's going to go to the top. Well, guess what? Those are the grifters. And when they are exposed, those each one of us has to get out our own, basically like our own shovel or however we're going to do it, but we need to remove them. We need to remove them from our lives. So one of the things that I can think of is that if someone's asking you for something and you typically don't get anything in return, other than guilt, or if somebody tries to guilt you about something for, you know, hey, can you do this for me? And, oh, I'm in such a bad way. I need this, that, or the other. Well, if somebody's looking for a job, give them the number to the local employment agency in your area. You know, it's the idea, I guess, in short, is to be sure to, you know, if they're hungry, don't give them the fish and chips. Show them how to make a fishing pole, and point them in the direction of the river, and they can go find their own bait to go fishing so they can have something to eat. It's that idea. If you don't have those skills, point them in the direction of those people who do. I guess that was enough of that. And if we want something, if we want a different outcome, we have to do something different. That's our next step when it comes to a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. Everybody's saying we're in these cycles, and you know, we're going to have another reset. If you don't want the repeat of what happened in the last one, we need to do something different. And I feel like not just waking up. Waking up is one thing. Having an awareness is another thing. And it's also, what are you going to do different? What are we as a collective going to do different? I mean, raising awareness, hey, that's great. If you're standing in the middle of the street, you know there's a bus coming. Yeah, I see the bus coming, but you don't get out of the street. You're going to get squished or hit or hurt, and you're going to say, well, I saw it coming and they hurt me. Well, get out of the street. So there's got to be a way that we can do something different. Whatever that means to you, I don't know. This one's quite long, so I'm not sure how much of this. Imagine that. All right, that was that portion. I think that's something completely different. So there's been a lot of challenges, again, to discernment, and it doesn't seem to really matter what area of your life you could say that you need discernment in, because it feels like there are going to be all aspects, and it's going to be different for everybody, and this discernment is going to require us to develop it deeper, broader, in all levels and areas. So I'm kind of wondering why that there's been such a pervasive idea of developing discernment, but it's probably been at least a year, this whole discernment idea, this So I did this on June 5th, and today is June 7th. But something came through that Thursday, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking about this discernment, because I don't think we can have clarity with discernment. We can't have clarity with discernment when we're out of alignment within ourselves. If things don't line up, I just got an image of, there's like that shadow figure in lotus position, and you have all the chakra points noted, and, one of them might be off over here and off over here. And, that's kind of being out of alignment. We need to get back into alignment for optimal functioning, for optimal clarity and optimal discernment. You have to have clarity. Clarity and discernment are kind of buddies. And maybe this is the whole idea too, is not giving up. When we do make mistakes, we don't give up. And I thought about seeds and how they're planted, and they're put in the ground, and they only see the darkness. They're only exposed to the light and frequency of the earth and what it's sitting in and itself. This is where many of us believe we are in the dark. We can't see very far at all. Perhaps this is the idea behind the phrase blind faith, because it seems that we are being required to utilize this so-called blind faith within ourselves. But it isn't blind, because if we are able to be imagining our success and the breakthroughs, and that imagination is our light. That is where our light and our insight for developing discernment and clarity. It might feel like, looking out, it's pretty dark. Go within and utilize that internal light. Changing our terminology from darkness, or from words like adversity, to expanding awareness and challenges. Overcome, not overcoming, overcome. We didn't endure, we didn't survive, but we have and are the overcomer. Bada boom, bada bing. Said that backwards, didn't I? Alrighty, so let's see what the cards have for us today, and helping us with this whole repeat structure, which is this is going to be really pervasive, because it's not like, oh, we're on discernment again, and this is alignment and clarity. There must be something that we don't quite see yet in our lives, and we need to make sure that, because this feels like a collective thing, there's going to be more stuff. No more hopium, y'all. No more hopium. Don't sit there back and continue on like you've always been continuing on. Change it up here first. If you need some help or guidance or resources, dude, my email is below. You can leave a comment below. This is really going to be critical if you want to pull through what they're trying to do. I'm not going to get into all what they're doing, but because around the world, it's going to be different. It's going to be slightly different. You're going to be bombarded with different energies, different stories, etc. But because it's happening to you overseas doesn't mean it doesn't affect us here, or vice versa. So keep that in mind as well. I'm going to switch over to the other camera. It's probably going to twitch. So here we go. There we go. And I've tried cleaning the lens. I've tried doing all kinds of stuff. I have to. Something else just occurred to me. I'm going to show you my coffee thing. It says, it's kind of bright, isn't it? There we go. Be yourself, right? I painted that on there. There's a couple flowers and a bee on there that I got working, and might hear a little pop. I don't know. But I guess the idea is, when we're faced with all these decisions and all this information, that each one of us is going to have a different outcome. based on our ability to manage the energies coming in. Some of us can see things that others cannot. That's in this realm, within ourselves, and what's outside this realm in an otherworldly, dimensional sort of kind of way. I don't even know how to really explain that because it's all here, it's all now, and it's all available. We just have to reconnect. We are remembering. We are remembering, and technically, the connection is still there. It just needs to be accessed. You need to access it. So we are in touch. We are all connected, just like on these lines here. We just have to realize what it feels like, what it looks like, and make the good stuff happen for all of us. I see some really cool stuff that I'm not going to really talk about. Because it's not, I don't want to give details because then, again, we're all in a different place and a space. And that's kind of where we're at. You know, as a collective, we're all affecting each other. All right, so from the original source and the original word, the original thought, because everything starts with thought, right? So the original thought. So this tablecloth, the table, the cards, those all started with a thought. They spoke words, they took action, and there you go. Beautiful cards manifested. All right, again, we're going to do the 2 weeks past, where we're at now, and 2 weeks forward, and how these are all going to be able to be integrated. And these are general energies. If you want a personal reading, again, shoot me an email. We can set something up. Whoa, that was me, not them. Let's see how we're going. So this is 2 weeks past. So 9 of Pentacles. It looks like we're pretty well set. We're pretty well set. We're on the go and in a good way from what I can tell. This is a resource thing. It's not necessarily money. It could be for some of us, but this is something to do with resources, whatever that means for you. That's plentiful. It was a lot of work. So 9 and 9 of Wands. I got to do something with this this light. If I turn that light off, it's going to be too dark. And if I turn the light on overhead, it shines right down on these and you can't see them on the board. So if I sound a little gravelly, it's because I was up really, really late doing a really fun thing with Stone Hobbit. So working hard is great, but it's not necessarily necessary to manifest. So that we've gained our wealth, whatever that is for you, with a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. And it was passionate. It was passionate. It's a passionate thing, but it's also, we felt it was necessary because it was something that was bringing us to today, because this is 2 weeks past. It took a lot of strength. It took a lot of heart. And it took a lot out of us. I mean, let's face it. You know, it's one of those commercials for those horrible, all right, might not be horrible to some people, but I'm going to adjust this here. So it's not necessarily horrible, but, you know, we deserve a break. It's a waiting game. I think we did kind of burn ourselves out putting this all together. This is 2 of Swords. So this was a lot of action for a lot of here and now work of the heart. It really took a lot out of us. And right now it's like, you know, I mentioned about the looking inward, closing your eyes and looking for the light within. And it feels like that's why in the traditional two of swords, that for our thoughts and words, we need to turn to that inner light. Keep talking to ourselves in a way that's going to provide encouragement. Please don't look for encouragement outside of self. If somebody doesn't support what you're doing, it's not that you want to question it, but you want to analyze it, look into it. What can I gain out of what this individual or individuals are saying that can be a benefit to me? Because nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, right? So let's utilize this. Yeah, I think at this point, because this was pretty hard, I can completely relate to this. So this is Five of Pentacles, and you know, with that, it's almost like, we're looking for some sort of blessing. We are blessed, but somehow there's like this negative thing going on in our head. Wow. So even though we've had this huge success, it was about expectations, and maybe we got some bitter things or some things that we're kind of carrying over from this Nine of Wands and into the Two of Swords. So it's like we're blind. If we're not going to use that time of self-imposed blindness, and a lot of people say self-imposed restrictions, but sometimes those boundaries are put up for us to stop and go inward and say, all right, how can I make this better? What can I do different? Yep. And it looks like this is a time that we're going to be asked to do that, right? We have more than enough. This says Nine of Pentacles, and this says Four. So perhaps if we feel like we've lost those five, lost a little bit more than, or feel like we didn't gain as much. Again, this is about expectations. So if you wanted a 10 of Pentacles and worked really hard and only got 9 and got this whole thing off the ground, or whatever it is, now you're kind of sitting back and it's like, oh crap, oh, here's the 5. Here's your 5. You have it, you just can't see it. Because here are the other 4. Again, this is right here in front of us. This is what we've been given. We worked really hard. We can't really see the 5, and we're left with the 4. The 5 is here. The 5 is still here. So here's a good example, because it might even not be literal. So if you had something where you lost a little bit more than half of it, where did you really lose it? Because technically nothing's really ever lost. If you know where it went, oh, I had to pay this bill because I didn't expect this to happen, and da 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 da. Well, guess what? That's a blessing, because you had the 9. If you didn't have the 9 and you only had the 4, or you had 5, you paid out that 5 in whatever manner of energy you want to look at. Well, then you'd have nothing. You'd have the Fool. You'd have to start over again, but you don't. So this is again about going in inner light. Don't say you're blinded, because you're really being asked to, all of us are being asked to look for that inner light. Yeah, and it could be, this is all very earthly energy. There's a little bit of fiery energy, but when the King of Cups, this is going to be the result. This is what we're going to have access to when we appropriately process what's been going on the previous 2 weeks. Bring it into today. And in the next 2 weeks, when we're sustaining this, we're going to end up being able to have a better means of I don't want to say dealing with, and managing sounds a little too restrictive. And dealing sounds negative because it's not. But when we are able to provide good foundation, and we're going to be well seated with our emotions, with what we've had to deal with in the past. And it's going to bring us home. A lot of people look at the Ten of Wands as, you know, something that's negative because you have that guy who's got the burden on his back. But you know what? It's still fiery energy, and we're still well seated in our emotions. We're not nervous about what we see in the world, or anywhere else for that matter. Wow. That is a card. That's my 1111 card. This is truly a victory, a celebratory victory of commitment, because we're going to be we're going to have really deep roots, is what I'm kind of getting. We're going to have really deep roots with whatever this is meaning for you. I know what it means for me personally, and whatever this means for you personally, I'm kind of being led to say, hey, you know, reach out to whomever it is that you're able to reach out to, and just kind of let them know what's going on. If you don't have anybody that you feel comfortable talking to, you don't want to post anything on a public forum, I have a secure meeting. We'll call it. It's encrypted. Okay, I have access to that. So if you want to go ahead and shoot me an email, we can set something up. I'm in United States. I'm in the Midwest. But even though I'm in the Midwest, I'm on the Eastern Standard Time. So it's, if you looked up New York City, that's the same time zone I'm in. Anyway, it'd be great to hear from anybody. Let's see what kind of clarity we can get on each one of these guys, right? So a lot of this is the world. This is the stepping through the threshold, and I don't feel like that's up here. This is kind of like the bridge between this and this. That's kind of where that's at. Because we started at this Nine of Pentacles, and we need to kind of figure out where we're able to go from here. We have to step through this portal of realization to really pull this well-seated foundational, you know, we know what needs to be done without going off to one extreme or the other, because things can get pretty scary. Yeah. So seven of Pentacles is that patience. So the patience is going to come from, we've got all of this, we're taking the time to meditate, and this guy just has his eyes closed, but we do or possibly may need to, you know, shut out the world in a couple of things. Wow. How many fours do we have here? We have the Four of Pentacles, and we have the Four of Cups, and we have the Four of Swords. That, yeah. So the Four of Swords is also that card of respite. So that to me is still 1111, just like the Four of Wands. And here we have the Four of Cups, and that's kind of where we might, again, going inward. And it's divine timing, for lack of a better way of putting it. And that's judgment. Let's not negate the benefit of seeking assistance to realize that judgment is not being judgmental. It's using good judgment. Oh my gosh, which aligns with the discernment thing, right? anything else? Yes. Okay. Off the top, off the bottom, off the middle. Ace of Swords. So this Ace of Swords, it's like I heard peace rendering. And some people, I kind of thought it's like rendering fat. No, it's like rendering a judgment. It's giving up. It's cutting away. It's that peacemaker. And sometimes to make peace, there is compromise, and it's not really a compromise. It's a way of reaching equanimity. So that is the, Ace of Swords, and it's a peace bringer. What do we got? Queen of Pentacles. So we have the King of Cups. Now we have the Queen of Pentacles, and that's like a really good heart-centered, she's very solid. She doesn't panic, and he doesn't either. So this is like amazing, because we have this. Yeah, all right, I'm being told to clarify that. With the Four of Swords is like a quiet, victorious respite. Okay, moving on. All right. Yeah, Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups, really good combination, right? The four has come up a lot. Yes, the four. Four of Cups, Four of Swords. Four is a really good, number. To me, it's, this is solid thinking. I know a lot of people say, well, oh, don't lament over, you see these three cups here, and there's the fourth cup over here that you can't see, and it's right next to you because you're not looking in the right direction. I kind of am calling this out because this is really close to him, and what it is he's very much aware of it and gleaning from these previous cups. We just don't want to stay there, and it's not like we're going to forget about that fourth cup that's full of the new path. These are the three from the old path or from our past. We're not going to lose them. We're not regretful about them. We are acknowledging them and learning from them. And that's how it's making a transition from where we are now and pulling things that are beneficial for us in the future. And that's kind of like what these guys are doing. They're seated here and they're pulling this from our future. And it is a mending process. This is mending. And when we have to take that time to just sit, that's what we're doing. We're seeing where we can make not necessarily even corrections, but acknowledging where there might be some holes in our spiritual garment, and not being afraid to access our higher power. Can you see what the number on that card is? You can't even really see it. Oh my gosh, it's all like really washed out. Hang on a second. I'm gonna turn this light off. I didn't even have to touch that, so I don't know if that's gonna be helpful. We'll find out in a second. But it's really bright because the window curtain's open. But nope, that is actually light coming in from the window. Anyway, it's a 4. You're gonna have to trust me on that one. But it's a 4. It's the higher power is gonna keep us in remembrance of all the hard work that we've done, and we haven't lost anything. And again, with judgment, She says to be fair. She says to be fair. Okay, I have to kind of like, there you can see it. So I'm going to reach over here. See if that helps. Ouch. That might help a little bit. Look at that. Look how much light is coming through. There's no light on over me, but there's like this huge amount of light, and maybe sometimes that's a little bit blinding. You have no idea how dark it is in here. But yeah, this is about, again, about this balance, about this judgment, about making sure that we are being fair. And also keep in mind, we need to be treated fairly. So it's not all about our own internal, it's also about how we're going to face others who we feel are not treating us fairly. And he is the one to really help us do that, because he is, and with the judgment, it's the King of Pentacles, because we don't want to go in screaming and hollering because we feel like somebody wronged us. It's not gonna be helpful anymore. I mean, I know the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but not anymore. The squeaky wheel, the whiner, complainer. If you go in and you tell somebody something needs to be done, you don't have to yell, squeal, cry, moan, groan, and complain. And if you do, move on. If you feel like you would have to take it to that level, move on. What do we have here? Steady income, organizing accomplishments. So this is going to take some creativity here, because it says art and design. If you're not self-employed, maybe you need like a side hustle to help you maintain the not the money side of it, but really like your mental health. So paperwork, contracts, learning as you go, that's the best part. Make sure you're journaling, because this is about writing. Maybe taking a class, do something fun. It's getting educated, maybe about yourself or others, when we are also able to kind of address being stuck. We are financially sound. We saw that here, and it might have something to do with water. And rest assured, there's a great deal of stability here. All right, let's look at some of the sacred geometry that's going to help us pull together everything that's going on, what's happened in the past 2 weeks, where we're at now, and pull forward what's going to be beneficial. And the same with the upcoming 2 weeks. What can we pull forward that's going to be beneficial for us in the now? Sometimes my week-to-week readings are kind of related, and oftentimes they are not. Not sure why that is, but you just gotta go with it, you know? Alrighty, what else? My hands are too small to do this. Yeah. Alrighty. So the original word, the original thought. Taking action on those good thoughts. 4 seems to be the number, because I keep hearing 4 again. So, whoa, well, that's not 4. That's going to be 7. So this is a sacral chakra. The frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance within our lives. That's a 2. That's half of the 4. But here's card 40, which is soul time. The frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. So that's soul time, and that's staying connected over here. A lot of 4s over here. And the third eye. So that's about our discernment again. The frequency of the third eye chakra, the indigo flower of life, supports our intuition and our inner knowing, our imagination and our psychic powers. We're going to have to be utilizing that a little bit more and tying into that higher power, because that's 4. Heart chakra, card number 4. Oh my gosh. Most of these are 4s and multiples of 4s. So this is the, wow, I can't believe how bright that is. Wowzers. So the heart chakra, the frequency of the heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. Be careful with what when they say unconditionally, because people will take advantage of us with that. Because there's a lot of people have strings attached. Don't let anybody tie any strings on that heart chakra. And a multiple of 4 is number 24 is Earth. The frequency of Earth activates our deep connection to this physical plane by showing us the beauty of all the aspects of our great Earth and revealing the more ethereal, spiritual aspects of our nature. And I feel like that pulls in with the heart, with the world. And it's very grounding. This feels like it's very, very, very grounding. And this is going to take some real divine feminine, I agree. All right, so this is the divine feminine. The frequency of divine feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side, allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic knowing, comprehension. There's a word in here I'm not going to say, of our connection to all of creation, divine feminine. That was a good ending card. What a cool reading, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Leave a comment for me or send me an email if you want to connect. There's good things coming. Make sure you hit that notifications button, because I have more stuff coming up that's going to be on the regular, and Stone Hobbit as well. And I will catch y'all on the flip side.